podcast where you get half-decent advice from half-decent guys. I'm your host, Sean Joyce. With me, as always, is cornhole champion Justin Giel and our resident fantasy football expert, Matt Senni. Justin, how was your first football weekend?
I lost.
Oh.
Not great.
Not great.
I didn't come in last, but I didn't lose.
Okay.
Or I didn't win.
Well, you did lose.
I did lose.
Senni, how was yours?
So I was the lowest scoring, which is horrific. So I just want to complain a little bit because I think that I have a right to complain. So a couple of my starters I just kind of wanted to talk trash about. So Nick Chubb, who I took with my second pick, I understand that he's a Brown. I looked to see when I picked them. But he's a top 10 RB, and he had a fumble, and he was only 10 for 60. So I just think I expected more from him, and he just didn't play well. Kenyon Drake I believe he also had 60 yards, but at least he had a touchdown. I took him at third, so, didn't get a lot of points from my RBs this week. But obviously the big disappointment came for my my wide receivers. So my first pick, Michael Thomas, was only 3 for 17, which is absolutely terrible considering that I took him, first pick.
Yep.
They gave the ball to Alvin Kamara probably more than anybody else. So
Actually, they didn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Kamara owners are probably pissed too. Maybe not because they bailed out.
When we were watching that game, I saw Alvin Kamara get the ball a ton.
Yeah.
But
he
red
got
zone
more
tech
receiving yards than Thomas.
Well, that's still terrible.
Yeah.
Mike Evans was also a major disappointment for me. I took him with my fourth pick. And obviously Brady did not want to give him the ball. We saw any attempt to give him the ball, was a far shot. And I understand he was covered very tight. I know his corner is one of the better guys in the league. But only get one touchdown and minimal yards. Was it 2 yards if I remember?
Yeah, 2 yards and a touchdown. Only catch of the
It's
game.
just nothing. It's not enough for me, honestly. Right. Pittsburgh defense, I was complaining to Sean a little bit last night. I understand that they kept the rushing yards very low. But 262 passing yards, and I knew that they weren't going to save me in this game, but I just kind of wanted more from them. Obviously, I'm happy that we came away with the win, but I would have liked to see a little bit more. Just to kind of talk about people on my bench that kind of shocked me, Mustard had 25.1 points, and that was massive. If I'm pronouncing the name wrong, whatever.
No,
I've been doing it many times.
I like it. I'm going to call him Mustard for
That's
now
probably what I'm going to do for the entire season. I did not start him, and if I had, I definitely wouldn't have finished last. But the big disappointment for me is that I took James Washington pretty early on just because I remember my computer wasn't working, and I just said, all right, let me go with a name that I know. And he didn't do amazing, but he had a touchdown, 2 for 34, and he outscored both Mike Thomas and Mike Evans. Yeah. And he actually almost had more than both of them combined.
Yeah.
So it's disappointing.
Definitely. And the's a lot of people out there that feel your pain, especially Mike Thomas owners. That was just a brutal game. Yeah, out for several weeks. Tough start. Tough start for your team, Senni, losing by only 9 points. So if one of those players stepped up just a little bit, we'd be sitting here with someone else. But that's behind us. Oh, actually, we have a bit of a business to take care of, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Why don't you pick your punishment here for me, Senni? All right, let's see it.
Gotta try to read it. It says shave armpits.
Shave armpits. So, do you accept this punishment, or would you like to pay the $50 fine?
I mean, it means that I probably can't wear a tank top to the gym for a little while.
Well, it's a good thing you wore one today. That's mighty convenient.
Yeah, that's just because I'm a tool. But yeah, I'll do it. It is what it is.
All right, so at the end of this podcast, you get to watch Matthew Senni shave his armpits right here in front of us. Should be a fun time. All right, let's get into the Week 2 matchups. We'll begin with the game of the week, the Jags and the Titans. Justin, how much do you love Gardner Minshew?
I love his mustache more than I love him.
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, that's all I really care about. And his name?
He's a 2.
Yeah. He's Gardner Minshew 2, you're right.
Yeah. I think he's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pick him up or anything, but
nope.
He's good. Have you seen his dad?
Yeah,
his dad's a brick shithouse. Yeah, his dad's a fucking fridge.
He sure is.
But yeah, I mean, he's all right. He's fine.
Well, Gardner Minshew 2 completed 19 of 20 passes and beat the Colts in Week 1, shocking everyone.
Yeah.
Except for you, because you picked the Jags in that game. Actually.
Oh, did I? I almost bet on him too.
You should have. His 19 completions went to 10 different receivers, which is not ideal for fantasy managers. But DJ Chark still scored in this game, and I believe he's a must start every week, regardless of the matchup. The guy on this team I really want to talk about is James Robinson. He seems to be the clear-cut lead back in this team now that Leonard Fournette is gone. He's the only Jags running back with a carry in last week's game. He wasn't very efficient with only 62 yards on 16 carries, but the Jags are likely going to play from behind a lot, which might limit his upside. But I think he's worth rostering in all formats. At this early in the stage of the year, you want to get the guy that you know is going to get the most work on a team, regardless of how bad that team is. As for the Titans, I think this is a week to boost expectations for all of their skill players. Despite pulling out a surprising win, the Jags still allowed 445 yards of total offense, which is excellent for fantasy. I think you can tighten up with confidence this week. And last, before we move on, I just want to make a quick note. Corey Davis exploded on Monday night against the Broncos. This could be something or it could be nothing. I know we've been waiting for him to break out for years.
Yeah.
But if it's legit and it carries over, he could be like the next Devontae Parker, the guy who breaks out in his fourth year.
Yeah.
Just randomly. So keep an eye on Corey Davis. I think he's worth picking up if you have somebody that you can drop to get him. All right. So are you going to jag down or tighten up? I am going to tighten up.
I'm running the hot streak. I'm going to jag down.
Whoa. 2-0 for the Jags?
Jag down, yeah.
Wow, okay.
I'm pulling the plug and going with the Jags.
Wow, Jags. All right, you heard it here. Playoff team.
Be the only 2 wins this year.
Next up, we'll talk about the Carolina Panthers and Tampa Bay. And, we just talked about tightening up. Tampa Bay needs to tighten up that offense. Luckily, after a bad start against New Orleans, the Bucs get to host the Panthers that just got shredded by the Raiders. Justin, are you nervous about the Bucs offense going forward?
Not really nervous, but it is. I mean, seeing that was a bit concerning. Brady's first touchdown was a rushing touchdown, which was something that
such a hot start too.
Yeah,
dude, I don't get it.
No, I'm not too worried about it. With the offseason and everything being a little bit weird with COVID, a lot of the teams haven't had that kind of time to build a connection between. So could be favorable for Senni this week, maybe with Mike Evans. And I think they're going to get a boost. I don't think it's going to remain kind of stagnant like it was in the latter part of the game.
Yeah, I think Mike Evans and Chris Godwins are still weekly plays regardless. Still wide receiver ones in my mind.
Yeah, I'm still going to start him.
Yeah, so I mean, we got to try to forget last week's performances. Gronk, I'm a bit nervous about. He saw only 3 targets in this game, and he looks more like the last version of Gronk than we saw than the one that we were used to years ago when he was an elite tight end. He still appears to be a great blocker, which is good for real-life football, but not great for fantasy purposes. Scotty Miller on this team is a player to keep an eye on as a bench stash. I don't think the Bucs can support 3 fantasy-relevant wide receivers, so he's a deep stash to me, but I think his value goes through the roof if one of those guys gets hurt. And we all know Tom Brady loves to throw to those little white guys.
Yeah.
So
he saw the ball a lot.
He sure did. He had 5 catches for 73 yards, more than Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, I believe.
More than me.
Yeah, and more than all of us combined.
Yeah.
Ronald Jones, too, appears to be the lead back in this offense, as Bruce Arians and myself have said for the entire preseason. Fournette had 5 carries for 5 yards.
About on par for Fournette.
Yeah. Rojo finished with 17 for 66. I think he's a solid flex play going forward, especially this week. You just saw the Panthers give up 3 touchdowns to Josh Jacobs. Speaking of the Panthers, you get what you paid for with CMC. He had a great day on Sunday. He'll remain the best running back in fantasy unless something very unfortunate happens. DJ Moore should also remain in your lineup every week. But what about Robbie Anderson, Justin? He had 6 catches for 115 yards and a touchdown last week's game. Do you think that's legit or just a fluke?
Well, it surprised the hell out of me. That's the first thing that I'll say. I can see it not being a fluke, but I wouldn't call it a legit. That might be one of the beers that I would sip. I would consider him being maybe a flex play moving forward, but I wouldn't have him routinely in my starting lineup.
I agree. I think he's a bit of a boom-bust flex play. Let's pick this game. I am going to take the Buccaneers.
I'm going to take the Bucs.
I'm going to go with the Panthers.
Panthers, all right. Upset pick. Moving right along, we'll talk about the Broncos and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers looked a bit more like their old selves against the Giants in week 1. Juju had 6 catches for 69 yards, nice, and 2 touchdowns, while Deontay Johnson also had a serviceable fantasy day. I view Juju as a low-end wide receiver 2 against a solid Denver secondary. Johnson's a bit of a deep flex play for me. I think there's a lot to be encouraged by in this passing game, but let's talk about the running back situation. James Conner left the game early with an ankle injury, and while I hope he's okay and I don't want to take a victory lap on a guy getting hurt, this is what happens with James Conner. He rarely finishes games, He's injury prone, and even before he was hurt in this game, he was inefficient. He only had 9 yards on 6 carries. Mm-hmm. Benny Snell, on the other hand, looked awesome in his place, racking up 113 yards on 19 carries. I've been pounding this table for you to get out of the James Conner business, and now I'm pounding the table for you to get in on the Benny Snell Jr. business. To me, he looks like a complete back, and if I were running the Steelers, if I was Mike Tomlin, I would just be tired of this James Conner bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm tired of him leaving games, not being able to finish. Let Benny Snell play. He had over 100 yards. He looked like a complete running back. He's a young guy. Give him a shot. I'm in on him. Are you? Do you agree with me?
I am. It's disheartening to see what's going on with Connor. I mean, being a lifelong Steelers fan and what he went through in his life, you want to see him succeed, but there's only so much that he can do.
Right.
Benny Snell, he slimmed down over the offseason, and he was running so well last night, and he runs like a back that's pissed off at the ground.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm big on Benny Snell. I would love to see them give him the nod moving forward.
Yep. So I think that's one of my top free agent pickups this week.
Yeah.
For the Broncos last night, they had a pretty decent game. Drew Lock wasn't anything special to me, but he played serviceably. Melvin Gordon had a great game, and now that Phillip Lindsay is injured, he should see an uptick in touches per game. I would be nervous about starting him in this matchup. You saw them stifle Saquon. That running game had no shot against the tough Steelers.
I was
defense.
so shocked.
Yeah, me too.
The Steelers in the past, they usually don't play super well against really good backs.
Yeah.
In the past, like McCaffrey tore him up.
Yeah.
And it routinely, like the backs just 6 yards was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, watching the game, the Giants O-line did a bang-up job.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw a stat earlier that Saquon Barkley's average yards per carry before first contact was -3.
Yeah.
So he just had no shot. As soon as he got the ball, he was tackled. I think Denver's offensive line is a little bit better, but I'd still be nervous about Melvin Gordon. I'm benching him in one of my leagues.
Yeah.
In favor of Ronald Jones, actually. And another player I want to talk about on Denver was Noah Fant. I've been high on him all offseason, and he had a great game last night, 71 yards and a touchdown on 5 catches. He's quiet in the second half, but I wouldn't look too much into that. He was still playing. Targets and volume are what you care about in fantasy football. In this game, I am going to take... man, this is a tough one. I'll take the Steelers.
Yeah, I'm going Steelers as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, I'm going Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think the terrible towels will be in full effect, and the home win, the home advantage is going to make a big difference.
Man, I'd love to go to a game there this year.
Yeah.
All right, let's move along here. The Eagles open at home against a good football team after losing on the road to the Washington football team. The Philadelphia offensive line and Carson Wentz struggled mightily last week, and I expect that to spill into this week as well with Aaron Donald coming into town. I'm downgrading all of the Eagles this week, and I'd only feel comfortable starting either of the tight ends and obviously Miles Sanders if he's healthy. What do you think of the Rams offense without Todd Gurley?
I was impressed. I guess impressed and surprised as to how well they played. They were pretty efficient.
Yeah.
I think Goff only turned the ball over once. And
and he got hit in the helmet. Shouldn't have even
it shouldn't have counted. I knew it was some sort of like deflection or something that kind of altered the play. And then the back I'm drawing a blank on, the older guy.
Malcolm Brown.
Yeah. Ran all over the Cowboys defense. So I was impressed. I think they're fine without Gurley.
Yeah. Malcolm Brown is the running back I want in this offense.
Yeah.
He's my number 1 free agent pickup this week. I know Cam Akers is the sexy young guy. That sounds really weird.
Yeah.
But Brown gets all the red zone work and all the third down work. He had some quick short touchdowns. The Rams love that. The offense scores a lot of short plays like that from the goal line. And if they keep using Brown the way that they did week 1, he could be the free agent pickup of the year, in my opinion. I mean, you saw Todd Gurley would get all that red zone work, all those short touchdowns. Even when he had limited snaps, he was still a top 15 running back.
Right.
Robert Woods was awesome last week, and Cooper Kupp had a bit of a quiet game, but I'll see him get more involved as the year goes on. I'm not too nervous about that. I'd feel comfortable starting either of those guys every week. And, of course, if you drafted Tyler Higbee, you have to keep starting him. It's very unlikely that you have a better option, but I don't see him having a huge day against the Eagles. We'll see what happens. In this game, I'm going to take the Rams. I think the Eagles start 0-2.
Yeah, I'm going Rams as well, just because the Eagles just couldn't hold on to the lead, and I think they might be playing from behind here.
They couldn't beat Washington, dude. They got no shot.
All right. Senni, why don't you tell everyone who the top running back is in the Jets offense?
Oh, it's not Le'Veon Bell.
No, it isn't.
Well, I don't know that it's Frank Gore. Is it Frank Gore?
It is Frank Gore.
He had 2.4 points on both of my benches, so
it's your boy.
That does not surprise me at all.
It's your boy, Senni. He gets a lead role. The Jets are starting him in week 2.
I really still don't know that I would start him, but
no, I don't think.
I don't think I would because it's still the Jets.
Yeah, it's still the Jets, and they play the 49ers this week. Another tough defense. Well, since you got that right, you get to ice one of us if you'd like.
Justin.
All right.
Man, you're lucky I live close.
Green apple.
Green apple was good the last time we had it.
You liked it?
Yeah.
I drank one casually during Sunday Night Football, and it was not good.
Yeah, he was casually sipping a Smirnoff Ice in my living room.
And I didn't like a single sip of it.
This is not good then. Cheers.
Well, the Jets looked horrible last week, and the only player on this offense I'd advise starting is Jamison Crowder. He seems to consistently produce numbers as a slot man in Adam Gase's offense.
Solid.
That was a nice one.
That was solid.
That was really nice. And the Jets are going to need to throw
Eyes
a
are
ton.
watering.
The Jets are going to need to throw a ton every week to compete, or just to stay alive in the game. Like
stay
they're
not
going to be
shit.
playing from behind a lot this year, I think. On the 49ers, George Kittle is dealing with a sprained left knee, and he's questionable for this game. In the event that he sits out, are there any other 49ers pass catchers you'd feel comfortable starting, Justin?
No. I had to look up who the pass catchers on this team were.
Yeah.
And I could not recognize any of them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a rough situation for sure. And their backup tight end, I know, is Jordan Reed.
Yeah.
The human vegetable.
Yeah.
He's got like another hit, and then he's just got CTE. I think he's already like half brain dead.
Yeah, he's the cucumber that Sammy ate on Saturday.
Yeah, he is. I got to take a second here to admit that it seems like I was loud wrong about Raheem Mostert. At least through week 1. I don't like to overreact after one game, but he got the lead amount of touches. Yeah. He was involved in the passing game. I think you can fire him up with confidence against the goddamn Jets.
I think I'm going to start him just because it's the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
I hope he puts up a goose egg because you're playing me this week.
I'm going to take the 49ers. Shocking, I know.
Yeah, I am too. I'm not picking an upset here. The goddamn Jets aren't going to do a goddamn thing.
Right.
The Jets haven't proven anything to me yet, so I'm
put
going
that on
San
a t-shirt.
Fran.
Yeah. Yeah, this is just going to be a podcast about shitting on the Jets every week.
On the Jets, yeah.
I can't imagine them turning it around.
Nah, happy birthday, Gibby.
Yeah, right. It's on his birthday for a guy to watch that game.
All right, next up, Buffalo Bills at Miami Dolphins. Bills owners got one more week of solid production, I think, from their weapons. I stand by the idea that Josh Allen fucking sucks.
Yep.
I know he looked good last week, except for when he overthrew a receiver by about 3,700 yards. But he plays the goddamn Jets last week, so I mean it's to be expected that he's going to have a nice day. You can't expect them to do anything competent on the Jets. So Josh Allen had a huge day. Miami isn't that much better. They're not as bad as the Jets, but still not great. I think Josh Allen's going to have another nice day, especially on the ground running. He's a QB1 for me this week.
Yep.
How do you feel about the other players on this team? Against the Jets specifically.
Yeah, against the Jets, I would start him. I would start him if you have him.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any of them, so I can't start him. But I like him. I mean, Diggs had a decent game last week.
Yeah, 8 for 86.
Yeah, not too bad. Brown got a touchdown, so I would start him if you have him as well. And then Singletary, I think you can give him the nod. And then Zach Moss, I have on my radar as well.
Yeah. He did get the goal line work as we expected.
Yeah.
It's a little bit muddled, though, because Josh Allen runs in those short touchdowns.
Yeah.
Similar situation to Cam Newton and Sony Michel in New England.
Yeah.
So it kind of sucks because if there was one running back in this offense, I think you could start them because of how much they run. But in this offense, it's a little bit murky on which guy is going to have the big day. But it like you said, the goddamn Jets, I think you got to start them if you got them. As for the Dolphins, Devontae Parker is currently questionable with a hamstring injury, so keep an eye on his status heading into the weekend. It still doesn't appear that Miami can run the ball at all. So if Devontae Parker ends up sitting out, I'd take a chance on Preston Williams as a desperate flex play. Miami will probably have to play catch-up in this game, and somebody has to catch the ball. Before he got hurt last week, Devontae Parker had 4 for 47 against one of the best corners in the game. So I think there's still value to be had regardless of the tough matchup. I'm going to go with the Bills.
Yeah, I'm going Bills.
Yeah, same Bills.
All right. Next, we got the Minnesota Vikings at the Indianapolis Colts. Things can only get better for both of these teams after tough losses in week 1. The Vikings had a strange fantasy game where they only ran about 20 plays in the first half. It was something insane like that. I think Kirk Cousins was 2 for 4 at halftime.
Yeah, it was something strange like that. Yeah, like
right.
you mentioned.
I wouldn't read too much into the lack of touches for Dalvin Cook if you drafted him in the first round of your draft, and he still scored for you, so you can't complain about the day. I'm still starting him and Thielen with confidence as wide receiver ones, running back ones, and for the time being, I think those are the only Vikings that I'm gonna be starting. Justin Jefferson's still a bench play for me. I think he might emerge as something special eventually, but I can't start him until I see it. The Colts appear to be a very fantasy-friendly offense if you can get the right pieces. Paris Campbell looks to me like the breakout candidate he was hyped as last season. If he's available in your league, I'd look to scoop him up and potentially start him, depending on your options. Unfortunately, Marlon Mack suffered a torn Achilles in this week's game, and in his absence, Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines both looked awesome. Justin, do you think Hines is going to continue to be as productive as he was in week 1? Or is that performance going to be an outlier?
No, I don't think it's going to be an outlier. He was frequently in the past uses kind of that similar to Austin Eckler when he was on the Chargers with Melvin Gordon. Or Melvin Gordon was on the Chargers with him,
the
pass catching role. So I think he's going to be good from a PPR standpoint. And then Jonathan Taylor is going to be more of the like the downfield sort of the downfield back.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, I don't have the stats in front of me. I believe he also had 4 to 6 catches, somewhere in that amount, that range. Philip Rivers, 6. It was 6. Philip Rivers loves to throw to his running backs, so it's nice to see him throwing to both guys. Jonathan Taylor I had as a high rookie going into the season, but now with the injury to Mack, I think that
it only goes up.
Yeah, his progression, like they need him now more than they did when they had 2 guys. So I think if you have him, you have to start him every week.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be awesome in this offense. The Colts have one of the best offensive lines in the league. It's like the exact opposite of the Giants. So in this game, I think it'll be close. I think the Vikings win.
I'm going to take the Colts.
I mean, I'm starting T.Y. Hilton and Jonathan Taylor, so I'm going to say the Colts.
All right. Well, one thing you can be sure of is Philip Rivers is going to need to come back because halfway through your afternoon, he'll be down by a touchdown with less than 3 minutes to go.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk the Lions and the Packers. Senni, was I wrong about Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I might have been. He looked like the Aaron Rodgers we used to see every Sunday. And if you drafted him, I think you need to keep starting him until he has that game that we saw last year.
How can you not now?
Yeah.
You know?
Aaron Jones led the Packers in carries, but 7 different Packers had rushing attempts in this game. If you drafted him, you have to keep starting him, but be aware that this has the look and feel of a true committee.
Yeah.
As for the Lions, brutal loss for them. Which running back do you want on this team, Justin? Is it suddenly Adrian Peterson?
Part of me wanted to say, I have Swift written down, but I think Peterson's probably the way to go. But I don't know that there's anybody that I would pretty much reach for.
Gotcha. It was really upsetting to see Swift drop that pass in the end zone that would have won the game for the Lions.
Yeah.
But Adrian Peterson led the team in yards and carries. He's the guy they trust the most. I still think that I want DeAndre Swift for the long stretch of the season.
Yeah.
But in the short term, if you need somebody to pick up and play, like if you had Marlon Mack as a starter and you need a guy right now, I think Adrian Peterson is fine. He'll still see a ton of work.
Yeah.
As for the pass catchers in this offense, TJ Hawkinson looked like a stud on Sunday. I like the idea of starting him until he gives me a reason not to do so. Hopefully Kenny Golladay heals in time for this game, but if he doesn't, I think Marvin Jones Jr. is a relatively safe flex play. I wouldn't read too much into Amendola leading the team in yards over the weekend. That happened last year, I think, in week 1. And he's not a guy that you can rely on week in and week out. Kenny Golladay.
And he never really has been.
No, not since his days on the St. Louis Rams. That was the only time I was a Danny Amendola PPR fan. Anyway, I digress. I am going to take the Packers in this game pretty handedly.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Packers as well.
Yeah, Packers.
All right. Is it just me, or does this next game have shootout written all over it? We have the Atlanta Falcons at the Dallas Cowboys. I think this is going to be fun as hell to watch, and I'm all in on starting pretty much any guy on either team.
Yep.
The obvious names are Dak, Zeke, Cooper Gallup on Dallas, Ryan, Gurley, Jones, Ridley, Hayden Hurst on Atlanta. Yep. But slot receivers on this team, CeeDee Lamb and Russell Gage, both excelled last week. I don't think that either can be consistent fantasy producers for your team, But in this game specifically, I think both teams are going to have so many yards of offense that you can start either of them if you're desperate for a flex play.
Yeah, just don't start the defenses.
No, definitely not. That'd be a horrible idea. Highly advised against that. Great analysis. Thanks, Justin.
Yeah, hashtag analysis.
Man, I think that this is going to be high scoring and fun, but I think Dallas wins the game.
I got Dallas too.
I have to go to Atlanta. I would like to see Dak get a lot of points because I'm starting him in my other league, but I would like to see the Falcons win.
Yeah, it would be fun to see them. I mean, they're always a great offense. Their defense is just so trash. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's what makes them such a great fantasy team.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's talk about mine and Vince's boys. The New York Giants play the Chicago Bears.
The Bears.
I think the Giants' offense will be good at some point this season, but this is another tough matchup for them.
Yeah.
I think Pittsburgh is the hardest one they have. Against the Steelers, Barkley had 15 carries for 6 yards. Those numbers are just absolutely brutal, but stay the course and trust that better days are ahead for you.
Yeah.
And if you play in a league with some really impatient people after this game, because I also think this is going to be another week that Barkley struggles to find work on the ground, reach out and see if you can buy low on him. I mean, it is Saquon Barkley, so you're going to have to put forth a little bit of value, but if you can trade for him, I would do it because I think he's going to end up being the number 2 back that you drafted at some point this year.
Yeah.
He just has a really tough start to the schedule.
Yeah.
As for the receivers, Darius Slayton looks like the Giants' true number 1 and a deep threat. He's got 10 touchdowns since week 5 last season. He's an absolute monster. If he can stay consistent, he's definitely the guy I want. For now, it's still Sterling Shepard. You saw a bit of this last season from Darius Slayton where he has a boom-bust type of game. And this is going to be a tough Bears defense, so I think both of those guys are flex plays this week.
Yeah.
Evan Ingram was also brutal last week with only 9 yards on 2 catches. But if you drafted him, there likely aren't any better options on your team. Maybe you could pick up Dallas Goedert. I tried to tell people about Goedert in the preseason because I thought he'd be great, and he was great last week.
That's what I got him for.
I don't think that Ingram is going to turn it around this week, but unless you have somebody better to plug in, you have to start him. Moving on to Da Bears. Do you think Anthony Miller is a legit fantasy option as a wide receiver? He tallied 4 catches on 6 targets for 76 yards and a touchdown on Sunday.
I do, and especially now with a lot coming out regarding Allen Robinson too.
Requesting a trade,
Requesting a trade. His agent did say that he never requested such trade, but I don't know who to believe there.
I also saw that he unfollowed and deleted all of his Bears related posts.
Wow. So I think now more than ever is when he should buy in on Anthony Miller.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have Allen Robinson on my team, and I'm telling you.
I have him in another league.
Telling you to go get him.
Yeah, well, I mean, if Allen Robinson 2 gets traded, I think his value is still going to... He's got nowhere to go but up. I mean, let's be honest. Mitchell Trubisky is still Mitchell Trubisky. I don't care that he won the game.
He did play well, though.
He did, but I'm not that worried about him.
No. I still think he's going to lose his job at some point throughout the year, but...
I don't know. I don't think Nick Foles is particularly any good either. He has to be playing for the Eagles to be anything.
Maybe garbage time.
Maybe
garbage. They're gonna be the Jags of the NFC NFC.
NFC
North. Yeah.
David Montgomery played pretty well in this game in a limited role. He was a post hype sleeper. This looks like a split to me though with him and Tariq Cohen. Tariq Cohen had an impressive day on the ground, 7 carries. I'd be concerned about starting either of these guys and expecting massive results. Mm-hmm. But in non-PPR especially, I do like David Montgomery going forward. It looks like he's still the number 1 running back on this team. But just don't expect him to pop off. He's a flex play at best.
Yeah.
Allen Robinson, too, is still good at football. So if he's on the Bears this weekend, if he's somewhere else, you still have to play him.
Yeah.
In this game, I am taking the Bears, unfortunately.
Yeah, the Bears.
Yeah, I guess I'll go with the Bears.
Damn.
I wanted to say New York.
All right, boys. Time for Thirsty Thursday with a game that'll make you want to drink. This week, I am drinking Our Brownies Are Made with Love by Listerman, found in Cincinnati, Ohio. It's a really nice beer. Tastes like chocolate and vanilla with a little bit of brownie. Justin, filibuster for a second while I drink it.
Yeah, that was a good one. I actually think this was a collab.
Was it a collab?
Yeah, Phase 3 Brewing and Listerman.
Phase 3 as well. But Listerman found in Cincinnati. That's why I'm drinking it in honor of the Bengals. The Browns are a much more favorable matchup for the Bengals than the Chargers were, especially the wide receivers. The secondary in LA is really good. The Browns secondary, not so great. I'd feel pretty good starting A.J. Green or Tyler Boyd this week. The same is true for me with Joe Mixon. Struggles to find space behind a shaky O-line, but gets enough volume to maintain fantasy relevancy. The Browns don't do anything particularly well. So fire up your Bengals, and I say Joey B gets his first win in the NFL.
Wow.
Justin, tell me what you're drinking and who you think is going to win the game, and talk to me about the Browns, please.
Of course. So I am drinking Flat Earth, which is by Masthead Brewing in downtown Cleveland. New England style double IPA. And the description on the can says it's brewed with an unbelievably stupid amount of hops. And I don't think that could be more true. That's what the beer looks like. A nice little hazy boy. It's really good. You look terrifying staring at me because all I see.
That mask is so creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's muffling my voice a lot, I think. I don't think this is going to sound as good.
All right, so about the Browns, I think that obviously they had a tough week one. Playing the Ravens is a tough test for any team. I think there's too much offensive power and talent on that offense to not produce this week. And then Baker Mayfield came out and said that it's going to take a little bit of time for OBJ. He says he's not going to force anything, but I do see big weeks coming up ahead. I'm going to start him when he's on my team, but I do like having Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt this week as well.
Yeah, I like all the guys too. I think you have to start them if you drafted them. Unfortunately, it's been 2 years now for Beckham. I'm getting kind of tired of his shit. He looked lackluster on Sunday to me. He looked like he didn't really want to be there. So I'd be a little nervous about him. But yeah, if you drafted him, you got to start him for sure. Who are you taking in the game, Justin?
I'm going to take the Bengals. I agree with you. I think Joey B is going to get his first win. He looked good.
He did look good. How about that? All right, Senni, why don't you tell us what you're drinking and who you think is going to win this game?
So this is one of the beers that was left over at my party this weekend. It says Java Head. It's a stout. It's brewed with coffee beans. I know nothing about it, so I'm not going to pretend like I know anything about it. But it's pretty good. It tastes like coffee. I'm not a big stout guy, but I think it's pretty good. Talking about the game, I'm going to go with the Bengals, but I did want some specific feedback from Sean on this because Justin's playing me and he's not going to tell me. Again, Nick Chubb, I'm very hesitant after this past week about starting him.
Right.
And again, I have Mustard, however you pronounce his name, and I'm more leaning towards playing him, and then I have this idea in my head of, I took Chubb in the second round. So from your perspective, would you start him?
Well, it's sort of a tough call. Nick Chubb, I think, is an awesome talent, and I think the Browns are going to be able to run on the Bengals defense. However, Chubb isn't usually involved in the passing game at all. So in PPR, his value is slightly downgraded. And Mostert has a pretty favorable matchup this week against the goddamn Jets.
It's true.
So I think I might start Mostert, even though I was wrong about him. And I like being right, so that's hard for me to do. But the Chubb and Kareem Hunt situation is a true split right down the middle. They both get about the same amount of touches a game, and Nick Chubb isn't involved in the passing game, so you need him to score to produce. He might do that, but Mostert to me is a bit of a safer play, which is weird to say because
it does feel weird to think that.
But yeah, in my opinion, I would start Mostert. Also, you look like the biggest douchebag in the world.
Well, I got the same glasses as Phil Hunt.
It's awesome. So it's just awesome that you're sitting in a basement at night with a tank top and sunglasses.
Oh yeah, I'm going for the Phil Hunt look. All I need is a soccer tattoo.
You got to get one of those
with a soccer and floral
with
pattern.
a flower. Yeah.
All right, so
right here.
So tell us who you think is going to win the game, and then I'll take this ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
All right, 3 for the Bengals. Joey B. Week 2, first career win. All right.
I'll leave this one out.
Okay.
I missed it.
All right, next we have the Washington football team at the Arizona Cardinals. The football team shocked everyone with a week 1 win against the Eagles. But Justin, is there any fantasy value in this team aside from Terry McLaurin?
No.
All right. I'm taking a wait-and-see approach with Antonio Gibson. I still think that he's a guy that needs to be rostered. Peyton Barber is currently the lead back on the offense. He scored 2 touchdowns against the Eagles, but he managed only 29 yards on 17 carries, which is not good. So I feel pretty good about Gibson's shot at a larger role in the future. I think he's going to be the clear lead back eventually. So stash him if you have room for him. For the Cardinals, Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins were fantasy rock stars week 1, and they returned on the investment you made in drafting them. Kenyon Drake had a serviceable day, 60 yards and a touchdown. He should be started regardless of the matchup. But is there any value to be had for any other option on this team, Justin?
I wouldn't. Nobody that I would really reach for. I mean, Larry Fitz, you could maybe make a case for as like a deep flex play. But for me, I'm not picking him up. I don't think there's anybody else that I would probably go out and try to get.
Your hair looks wild after taking that.
Yeah, I know. I really wish I put that other hat down closer.
Yeah, I sort of agree. I think there are going to be big weeks for Kenyon Drake. I mean, not Kenyon Drake, Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
Going forward, I know a lot of people had him as a sleeper this season as a guy that really to break out.
I'm putting Christian Kirk in.
Yeah, I don't think you can rely on him consistently.
Yeah.
I think he'll have big game. He's a boom bust type of guy. In this game, I am gonna take the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm going Cardinals too.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Washington football team on a revenge tour. They want to get back at us.
If they go 2-0, by all means, be my guest.
It'll be so funny.
I have no stake in that team at all.
Best team in the NFC East. Next up, another divisional game. The Kansas City Chiefs at the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chiefs looked like the Chiefs in the season opener, and the Chargers squeezed out a narrow victory against the lowly Bengals. Senni, who plays running back for the Chargers?
Dude, I hate the Chargers. I really don't care about the Chargers. I have no idea. I have no clue who plays. I have no clue. Dude, I don't know that I could name more than like one player on the Chargers. So.
He's Austin Eckler. And
I have him. We talked about this last week. We talked about how I didn't know who he was, and then I said, oh, wait, I have him on my team in our other league. So, yeah, I shouldn't have. Whatever.
It happens. Well, he carried the ball 19 times for 84 yards in this game, which is great, but he saw only one target in the passing game. Last year, he was known for a large passing role in the Chargers offense. Chargers rookie Joshua Kelly totaled 12 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown last week, looking explosive and decisive in his debut. Justin, are you nervous about Austin Eckler going forward with the emergence of Kelly and the lack of passing involvement?
Not super nervous. It's definitely something to keep on the radar, but I think that'll pick up as the season goes on.
Yeah, I'm not nervous at all. I do think Joshua Kelly is a real thing, and I would pick him up. He looked really good, and he's going to get carries. But, seeing Eckler get 19 carries, I think, is more of a good thing than the bad thing of him not getting involved in the passing game. They're going to have to play from behind in certain games, and this is a week where they're definitely going to be playing from behind. I would be shocked to see them competitive against Kansas City. I think this is going to be a blowout. So the Chargers pass catchers should see plenty of work, and that includes Austin Eckler. I like him. I like Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Hunter Henry. All are startable players in this game. Obviously, Allen and Eckler more so than Williams and Henry, but still startable players. I don't think there's much value in us discussing how good the Chiefs are. Mahomes, CEH, Kelsey, and Hill, they're all set it and forget it players.
Yeah.
But Sammy Watkins led the team in targets, receptions, and yards in week 1. Is he a player who should be rostered and played going forward, Justin?
I think he's making a case for it. I mean, it's one game this year, but I think he could do it.
Well, last week he had 3 touchdowns against the Jags in week 1, and they didn't do dick for the rest of the season. So I'm out on Sammy Watkins. I could be wrong about it. I'll be loud wrong about it if I have to be. I'm off the Sammy Watkins hype train. He's had plenty of years to do it. He's never done it. So I like the guys that are great. Sammy Watkins, I think, is nothing more than a risky flex play every week. He might have those games where he explodes, but he's going to have a lot of games where he doesn't do anything. I think the Chiefs win this game handedly.
I'm going upset.
Oh, Chargers.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chargers. I'm going with the upset.
Wow.
No, I'm going with the Chiefs.
All right. Senni's smarter than Justin. Continuing.
Hey, I was right about the Jags.
I know. Jags, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, Justin's going to have a Chargers-Washington football team Super Bowl, and he's dead right.
No. I'm not doing that.
Let's continue here. The Baltimore Ravens play the Houston Texans. The Ravens absolutely crushed the Browns in week 1. They looked every bit as dominant as they were last season. Mark Andrews remains a stud, and Hollywood Brown looks like he's posed to make a huge leap in year 2. Justin, the thing I want to discuss for this team is the backfield. What do we do with this backfield?
So my exact note says wait.
Okay.
I think that's what I would do is just wait to see. Lamar Jackson looked good throwing the ball.
He did.
I mean, obviously you know what he can do on his feet, so I think he's testing it out, like testing his arm out. Granted, it was against the Browns defense.
Right.
But I think just maybe wait a couple weeks on this backfield just to see like who emerges as the top back and then who stays consistent.
Yeah, it's tough. I think it's going to be a committee the whole way through. I mean, Jackson obviously talented as a runner and a thrower, Mark Ingram, too, had 10 carries for 29 yards. Rookie J.K. Dobbins had 7 carries for 22 yards and both touchdowns. Gus Edwards also got involved in the rushing game with 4 carries. I think Dobbins is the guy you want for the future, which I've been saying for a while, but you may have to start playing him soon.
Yeah.
If he's truly the goal line back, that has a lot of value in the Ravens offense. They're going to put up a ton of points every week. This has the feel of a true committee to me, which is frustrating, but I think Dobbins has the best big play ability, and if he's the goal line guy, then obviously that has tremendous value. The Texans' new offense struggled a bit in the first game of the season, but it was nice to see David Johnson looking like his old self. He totaled 14 touches for 109 yards and a touchdown. He's a starter for me going forward in all formats. Will Fuller 5 was awesome in this game with 8 catches for 112 yards. Do you think that he's a must-start every week going forward as the number 1 wide receiver on the team?
I think he is, especially with who's opposite of him, Brandon Cooks.
Oh, yeah.
Always hurt. I mean, Will Fuller can make
always
that same.
Too,
yeah. But, I mean, as long as he's healthy, I think with him being the lead guy, I would start him.
Yeah, I think it depends on your roster construction, but if he's one of the best wide receivers you have, I think you have to start him until he inevitably gets hurt, which would be unfortunate if it happens. I'm not saying that it's definitely going to happen. I know he trained in the offseason to try and prevent that.
Yeah.
But it seems like the most likely thing that's going to happen. I think you do have to play him until he is unfortunately out. I think that the Ravens are going to win this game, but I think it's going to be close.
I'm going to go Houston, partially because I want the Ravens to lose, but I think they can keep it close enough to squeak away with a win.
We shall see.
I can't say the Ravens. I just can't do it. So I'm going with the Texans.
So he's going to be wrong on a lot of picks.
A lot of picks because I know the Ravens are probably going to have a great season, and I will not pick them once.
All right. Let's talk some Sunday Night Football.
We've been waiting all day for Sunday night.
Senni. What have you been waiting all day for?
I've been waiting all day to talk about lawn games.
Lawn games, okay.
All right. So we all know that when we're having a party, especially during like the summer or the fall, we like to have things we play in our backyard. I was fortunate to receive more lawn games in the last couple weeks than most people get in their entire lives. So, some of the good ones, right? Trash can pong, can jam. There's that thing with the balls, right, where you throw it and it's like wraps around. People know what it's called.
Ladder ball.
Okay, yeah, I never would have known that. But we all know that the best lawn game is obviously lawn bowling, right? You set up the pins in your grass, you get your big plastic bowling ball, and you throw it along the grass, right? Because we all know that bowling balls will go through the grass.
A 4th of July tradition.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. But in all seriousness, we did have some weird games at my house this weekend. We had a croquet set, which I don't know.
Thought it was bocce set for the
we didn't know.
3 hours that I was there.
Oh, so it is bocce.
No, it was croquet.
Okay, so it was croquet because I thought it was bocce too. Lawn darts, which are, I guess
dangerous.
It's like a ring, and you like throw it into the ring.
I think you got to throw it up in the air and it comes down, right?
Well, these had like plastic tips on them. The old school lawn darts, they got banned because a kid threw one over his fence and like killed a little girl in California.
It's horrific.
Because it's like
that's how the wildfire started.
5 pounds.
Yeah.
We had a badminton set. We had a couple solid face-offs where we saw a high school tennis player lose to somebody who did not play tennis. And but we already know that obviously the best lawn game is cornhole. Right, we all know that cornhole is the thing we want to play. It's the most Chad yard game, to be honest. So we had a nice little tournament. Sean and I were crushing people, and then we made the mistake of walking away from the board. So I made Sean come with me, and we went and picked up the food for the party. And when we came back, it just wasn't the same. We won a couple games, but we lost to people we probably shouldn't have lost to.
It happens.
And then I watched my wife get farther than me in the tournament.
Yeah, I think you lost to me and Andy.
Oh, okay. Well, then I feel better about it.
Yeah, in the tournament, you guys lost me and Andy.
So then
before we gave up the boards, I was at the perfect drunk level where, like, you can hit it. And then, before that point, you suck. And after that point, you suck. And after I had a few more beers, it was pretty much done time.
Yeah, it was tough after that. But, I basically cheered against my wife for the rest of the tournament and watched her proceed to win. We watched some of our friends get shut out 21-0. So it was interesting, but then, of course, Justin and Andy, who have the chemistry of having made a cornhole board together, which is obviously a stronger bond than, marriage or groom and best man, they proceeded to win the entire tournament. So congratulations to Justin.
That's the way it goes. And, just like in fantasy football, sometimes upsets happen. But let's move on here and talk about the Sunday night game. Justin, would you rather have Cam Newton or Tom Brady in fantasy football?
Cam Newton.
I agree. And the New England Patriots play against the Seattle Seahawks on Sunday Night Football. I think Cam is the only Patriot I'd feel comfortable starting each and every week. He's a top 10 quarterback for me the rest of the way.
Yep.
Just so effective on the ground. The Patriots are using his skill set perfectly. However, because New England is New England, you can't trust any of their running backs. James White is still a hit-or-miss flex play for me. He's the most involved in the pass game. I wouldn't start Sony Michel, Rex Dickhead, any of those guys. Julian Edelman, I think, is still a decent flex option. But there's no other Patriots I really want in my starting lineup. The Seahawks were awesome against Atlanta on Sunday, and if you started a Seahawk, you were probably pretty happy yourself. Mr. Unlimited tossed for over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns, and added 29 yards on the ground.
How good is he?
He's good.
Yeah.
Analysis.
He's a...
DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett both provided strong wide receiver 2 numbers with over 90 yards each. So the surprising takeaway from this game for me is the lack of rushing attempts by the running backs. The Seahawks were one of the run-heaviest teams in the year last season. Chris Carson only ran the ball 6 times. He had a great day with 2 touchdown receptions, so it was nice to see him get involved in the passing game. He had 6 catches. But Carlos Hyde actually led the team in carries with 7 in that game. I'm not nervous yet, and I'm not overreacting to Carlos Hyde being the leading running back on the team in terms of touches, or I should say rushing attempts, not touches. But to me, it seems that every team that has Carlos Hyde wants to make Carlos Hyde a thing. And he just isn't a thing. It's like fetch. You can't make fetch a thing. It's just not going to fucking happen. Carlos Hyde is Carlos Hyde. He's there to spell your running backs and annoy you. So I'm not nervous about it, but I'm monitoring the Carlos Hyde bullshit.
Can you imagine him listening to this and be like, "He just fucking compared me to Fetch"?
Yeah,
of all things in the world.
We've definitely made a few enemies. I'm still waiting for Eric Ebron to come knocking at my door. Every catch for 18 yards last night, by the way.
Yeah, no, I was looking at him like, get the fucking end zone. Come on, dude. Like, I got a bet going on this.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for all of Bud Light to come after me. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, they could shut down the whole podcast if they wanted to. Let's pick the game on Sunday night. I say that I'll take the Patriots.
I'm going to go Seahawks. I like the way they're looking, and I don't want this to be a sweep.
Yeah, I definitely think that the Patriots are an upset pick. So
yeah.
I think Cam looks good. I'm going with the Patriots.
All right. And for our last game of the season holy shit. The last game of the week.
I'd say week 2. We're done.
Man.
Before we get into Senni's armpit shavings, let's cover the final game of week 2 with the Saints marching into Vegas. Josh Jacobs was incredible on Sunday, rushing for 3 touchdowns, getting involved in the passing game with 4 receptions. Totaled 29 touches in that game, which is, there's nothing more you want.
No.
A guy that gets a ton of volume is exactly what you're looking for in fantasy football. I was high on Jacobs coming into the season. I may not have been high enough on him. If they keep using him this much, I think he could finish top 5 at his position. The passing game was pretty spread out. Darren Waller, not surprisingly, led the team in targets. We got a glimpse of Henry Ruggs' 3's speed on a 45-yard catch. I think he's the receiver you want to have on this team, but he still hasn't done enough for me to warrant starting him week in and week out. I think he's a flex play if you're desperate. Senni, don't you love how the Saints run their offense?
No, I think that they had no clue what they were doing, and they didn't know how to give the ball to their best player. So
the reality of this offense is that it's going to frustrate you. If you have Kamara and Michael Thomas when he returns, you have to start them every week.
Yeah.
But the Saints love to get cute. Jared Cook was inexplicably Drew Brees' favorite target, leading receiver for the Saints. Latavius Murray led the team in carries and yards. And, of course, fucking Taysom fucking Hill has to get in the game and take touches away from all the best players. I hate this team. I hate all of them. I hope they never win another fucking game. They fucked Senni. They fucked me. Did. And now Senni is going to shave his armpits for us.
Yeah. And it's because of them, primarily.
It is. Because Michael Thomas last year was, 13 catches for 100 yards. and
every single week, yeah.
Yeah, 3 for 17.
Wow.
All right, Senni, to get to it, it's time to go.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to pick the Saints for this game.
Oh, let's pick the game. You can just leave that in, Vince. That's fine. I am also going to take the Saints, even though I hate them. I hope they lose, but I'm taking the Saints.
I'm picking the Raiders because I'm mad at the Saints.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm mad at them, too. All right, let's get to it.
All right. I don't even know that I know how to do this, so I'm going to try to set up some kind of camera so I can see, an angle of what I'm doing here.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks like a good start. It's a good plan.
I don't know that I've ever done anything like this before, so...
Lathered up. I don't even know how I would go about this. Now I'm thinking about it. Like,
you just wipe it on your leg.
Yeah, dude. What the fuck else is I gonna do?
Oh damn, it's electric.
Boogie.
Dude, that thing is lit.
Yo, what?
That really like just took it all out.
Yeah, I did not pay for this.
He did. He really did.
What else was I gonna do with this?
Oh, we should have got you like a towel or
Yeah,
something.
like I was gonna ask for a paper towel, and then I guess I just kind of said.
Vince, do you have any paper towels or something?
Might help.
To help him out of it. Do you think this is what Serena Williams' underarms look like?
No, because she's much more muscular than me. Is that good for
That's
that?
good. That is
yeah,
good.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're good.
That's pretty much out. That's pretty solid.
Now, I am not confident that I can use my left hand, which just sounds ridiculous because, as most of us know, I am left-handed.
So you're left-handed, but you shave with your right
I
hand?
do a lot of things with my right hand, despite that I write with my left hand.
What hand
brush
do you
my
jerk
teeth
off
with
with?
Right.
We went two different directions. We took that two totally opposite ways. I brush my teeth. What hand do you wipe your ass with?
My right. I think I only write with my left.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, are you sure you're even left-handed? But if you write with your left
I've written with my left hand my whole life, so... This is, like, honestly disgusting. Just a giant wad.
That is awesome.
Did I miss something?
I think you,
I think you
there's
did.
a little
That was
spot
the
there.
thing that fell off, the razor.
Oh, the razor. I thought a bottle cap fell.
No,
what
I 100% thought it was a bottle cap.
Bottle cap did fall with it.
Oh, wow. How about
So we
that?
heard the bottle
Yeah,
cap.
that was both things.
In all seriousness, I don't know what to say to you if you're watching me do this right now.
Yeah.
And you have stayed this long to watch me continue to finish doing this.
Well, I think Vince can edit some parts. I think you got to leave some of our commentary as we do it. And
Yeah, you don't have to show me fucking shaving my armpits unless you want to do a tutorial of how to shave your armpits.
uh,
I think that's good.
Yeah, you're good.
I think that's good too.
It's a lot more hair than I thought it was going to be, honestly.
All right, Senni, you want to put your arms up for the camera so everyone can get a glimpse of...
They give him like the Rocky stand.
yeah, the Rocky. They're both arms up.
I knew that somebody's going to ask you to do that.
Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Fantasy Beer League. We'll be with you every Wednesday on YouTube with audio-only podcasts available on Spotify, Apple Music, and Pandora. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at FantasyBeerLG. Those are the words Fantasy Beer and the letters LG. As always, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more half-decent advice and dumbass punishments. I'm Sean Joyce. He's Justin Giel. And here's our loser, Matthew Senni, with his slightly less hairy armpits and his advice of the week.
If you don't want to get razor bumps in your armpits, use Aveeno because it's good for your skin.
Aveeno, our first sponsor. Thank you. Have a great day.